YouTube, my name is Jake Asman. Welcome in to my channel. This is the Jake Asman Show for a Friday, October 8th, 2021. Today's video going to be a little different. We are going to reflect back on the Jets absolutely fleecing the Seattle Seahawks in the Jamal Adams trade. Adams was horrendous in this game that we all watched on Thursday Night Football last night. And by horrendous, I mean, that's probably putting it lightly. Seattle loses. Adams absolutely exposed in coverage. And yet another win for Jets general manager Joe Douglas, who pulled off that trade. Before we get to that and much more, I ask that if you're new to the channel, you subscribe down below. If you watch these videos every day and you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? It's free. All you got to do is click the subscribe button right down below. Like this video as well, and that helps this channel continue to grow. With that being said, let's talk about this Jamal Adams trade. Now, at the time, I loved it because I knew the Jets last year were not going to be a very good team. They could have been 2-14 with or without Jamal Adams, as long as Adam Gase and the Jets roster was going to be the case. So the fact that they got 2 1s for Jamal Adams a year ago, it was a great deal at the time. Now, Adams is a tremendous player based on how the Jets used him, but it never made sense to pay him the amount of money that he wanted. Then he trashed the organization. He wanted to get traded. It just was not going to work out. It made sense to trade him at the time. And now looking back on it, it looks like one of the best trades perhaps the Jets have ever made in the history of the franchise. That is not hyperbole. Go look it up. Look at the amount of value they got for a box safety that can't cover. No one's going to deny Jamal Adams is great when he's rushing the quarterback, but you're limited if that's all you could really do at an elite level. Greg Williams got Jamal Adams paid, not the other way around. Remember that. How Williams used Adams his last year with the Jets in 2019 is why Seattle felt like he was worth giving up 2 1s and a third-round pick to acquire him. It was a great trade by the Jets at the time. And now let's look at it, a year and change later. The Jets turns that first-round pick into Elijah Vera Tucker, right? There's no rule that says you got to take a player at the exact spot where the Seattle pick was. The Jets used that 23rd overall pick and another pick to move up all the way up to number 14 in the draft and acquire the best offensive lineman, arguably, in the draft in Vera Tucker. And after a slow start for Vera Tucker, a lot of it because he had to, of course, overcome injury in the preseason and he was learning a new system and he's a rookie. He went out there against Tennessee and played by far and away his best game as a pro. He did not allow a single pressure over 38 snaps in protection last week. He became the Jets' first offensive lineman to have a 0 pressure game in pass protection this season. Any draft expert would tell you that the Jets got a real player in AVT on that offensive line going forward. So while Jamal Adams is a great player, he's not helping Zach Wilson like Elijah Vera Tucker certainly will for, let's hope, the next decade and change that those guys are playing together. With that being said, let's also talk about the fact that if the Jets had kept Jamal Adams, they would have had to have paid him an enormous amount of money. How much money? Well, Seattle signed Jamal Adams to a 4-year, $70 million contract. Imagine paying that kind of money for a limited defensive player. We know he's elite at rushing the quarterback, but guess what? If you're going to be the highest paid safety in the history of the NFL, you need to be able to do more than just blitz off the edge. Last night, we saw Tyler Higbee beat Jamal Adams in coverage. Deshaun Jackson was running up and down the field. Jamal Adams was hitting his own guy at one point in this game. I mean, it was bad. Everyone could have a bad game, but man, if you're Seattle and you went all in thinking Jamal Adams was the missing piece to fix your defense and to give you the best opportunity to reach a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson, you can't have a game like what Jamal Adams did last night. And the Seahawks are allowing 450 yards per game this season. That's on pace to be the worst in NFL history. Jamal Adams, the highest paid safety in the NFL, is a part of that defense. And so far this year, he's got 0 sacks. So explain that one to me. Yards allowed by the Seahawks defense. First 5 games in 2020, they allowed 2,356. First 5 games here in 2021, they've allowed 2,254. Once again, they are on pace to have the worst defense in NFL history based on yards allowed, just like last year. But this is a team that felt Jamal Adams was worth 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick. So Joe Douglas not only won the trade at the time, it continues to look even better, especially knowing now when the Jets made that trade, everyone was like, oh, it's the Jets. Well, they never hit on their draft picks. Well, Joe Douglas hit on AVT. He's going to be a very, very good player. And obviously, you also won this trade by not having to pay Jamal Adams that kind of money. Imagine the Jets gave out that contract. They don't need Jamal Adams. Now, would it be nice to have a player like that in your defense? Of course. But it's not like the Jets can't overcome not having elite safety play. It's a non-premium position. Jamal Adams was great when he was a Jet, but man, his comments on the way out rubbed, I think, every Jet fan the wrong way. He was just such a jerk on the way out. And, good riddance. They don't need him. When the Jets are good again, it was not going to be when Jamal Adams was on this team. And they're headed in the right direction without him. They have an elite front seven now. Obviously, they'll get even better with Carl Lawson. You look at this secondary and the play of Bryce Hall. That's a guy that you pay eventually, not a safety. Premium positions on a football team defensively, edge rusher and corner. You start there. And the Jets obviously felt like it was worth paying John Franklin Myers yesterday because of his upside and how well he has played so far. So this idea that, Joe Douglas will never pay one of his own, not true. You just got to play the right position. And Jamal Adams didn't. Jamal Adams wanted to be traded. All right. The Jets were smart to trade him for 2-1s. At the time, I didn't want to trade Jamal Adams unless they got a massive haul. Well, the haul that they got was massive at the time, and it looks even better now. Once again, this guy was awful last night. If you missed the game, just Google Jamal Adams and see what people are saying about his performance. You can't be the highest paid safety in the NFL and be a liability in pass coverage. I mean, Jamal Adams was worse than Ryan Gosling and Remember the Titans. I mean, he was an absolute liability in pass coverage last night. It's a fact, and I don't know what Seattle was thinking that guy was worth 2 first-round picks. Jamal Adams should call up Greg Williams every day and thank him for how he deployed him in 2019, because that's why Jamal Adams got paid the money he did eventually by the Seattle Seahawks. Now looking ahead for the Jets out of the significance of this trade. If Seattle keeps losing, the Jets pick goes higher and higher. Now with Russell Wilson potentially having to miss a game or two, Geno Smith, who looked actually pretty good last night until his receiver slipped and it led to an interception at the end of the game, maybe that Jets draft pick could be even higher. Right now, the Jets have 2 picks in the top 13 of the NFL draft. So, I think Seattle will still be a good team, but maybe that pick is a little higher than what it was last year. Last year it was 23. Maybe it could be, 18, 19, 20. Maybe even higher than that. And the reason why I say that is because Seattle's in arguably the toughest division in the NFL. You got the Rams, the Cardinals, the Niners, and Seattle. That's a tough NFC West. So the Adams trade was supposed to be putting Seattle over the top, right? Oh, the Jets were going to be getting the 31st or 32nd pick. Not the case. Year 1, 23rd pick. Use that pick smartly to go up and get a premium player like Elijah Vera-Tucker. Now, in year 2, as the Jets try and build this foundation, right, and try to put pieces around Zach Wilson entering his second year, they're going to have 7 picks in the first 4 rounds. So it's not just the Adams trade that Douglas made. It's the Sam Darnold trade. It's the trade for Chris Herndon that got you an extra 4th-round pick. Joe Douglas has been excellent at making trades. He's been excellent at it. That is one thing you cannot knock him for. And let's see how he hits on some of these picks. But, man, that Tennessee Titans game, you saw Wilson play well, Vera-Tucker play well, Michael Carter play well, Bryce Hall play well, John Franklin Myers play well. He was a waiver pickup who you signed long-term. Like, a lot of Douglas's moves are paying off here, and you could kind of see the foundation for this team being laid out. And if the Jets could take this Adams pick that they get this year and turn that into another premium player, either moving up or someone they like in that spot, that's going to be great. And then here's another option I want to throw out there as something the Jets could do. And you see good teams that are looking to take the next step do this often. Josh Allen entering year 3. The Bills went out there and they got him Stephon Diggs. They traded their 1st-round pick. Kyler Murray entering year 2. They went out there and they traded for DeAndre Hopkins. That trade was so bad, but sorry, Texans fans that watch this, they didn't even have to give up their 1st-round pick. They gave up David Johnson and a 2nd-round pick. Thanks, Bill O'Brien. But you get the point. The Jets now have the draft capital to go out and get a proven veteran that could help Zach Wilson in year 2 if they see if they deem that as a need for Zach. We'll see how the rest of the year plays out with this Jets team. So the draft capital is not just for players, it's or for in the draft, it's potentially for veteran players you can acquire on the trade market. So Jamal Adams, he does not play a premium position. He's having a bad year. They paid him more money than any player that has ever played that position. It's a horrendous trade by the Seattle Seahawks. I dare any Seattle fan to try and justify that trade. If you injected the Seattle Seahawks front office and Pete Carroll with truth serum and say, hey, if you could have a do-over on that trade, would you make it? They would say, yeah, we would not make that trade. No chance. So not only do the Jets win the deal at the time, it's a blowout now. Like, it's not even close. It's one of the worst trades in recent NFL history. That's not hyperbole. Go look it up. A box safety who can't cover, who you had to make the highest paid safety in the NFL, went for 2 first-round picks and a third. 2 first-round picks. We're talking about a guy that's a non-premium position. You know who goes for 2 first-round picks? Laramie Tunsil, left tackle, premium position. Khalil Mack, edge rusher, premium position. Quarterbacks go for 2 first-round picks. Matt Stafford went for 2 first-round picks in the Jared Goff deal. Jamal Adams went for 2 first-round picks. He can't cover. It's one of the great trades the Jets have ever made. It looks great already because of how well Elijah Vera Tucker's playing, and because the Jets would have been bad with or without Adams last year, and he would have been a mountain content and would have been bad for the guys in that locker room if he wasn't bought in. So, man, what a day. And what a day for the Jets it was yesterday. The Jets found out Zach Wilson wins Rookie of the Week. They extend John Franklin Myers for 4 years. Jamal Adams gets beat multiple times in coverage and looks horrendous. Seattle loses the game and helps Jets draft positioning. And Geno Smith, not his fault, but he did throw an interception at the end of the game to help Seattle lose. Like, the Jets don't get many great days like what we had yesterday in the last 10 years. So let's enjoy it. So the Jamal Adams trade will go down as one of the best moves the Jets have ever made. And I'm saying this before I know what they do with the next first-round pick, which I'm going to bet is going to turn into either a veteran that's going to help Zach Wilson, or it's going to be another stud player like Elijah Vera Tucker. So with that being said, I want to thank all of you who watched today's video. You could subscribe right down below if you're new to the channel. Tell me your thoughts afterwards in the comment section. Your thoughts on the Jets absolutely dominating the Jamal Adams trade. Thanks to everyone who watched. My name is Jake Asman. Once again, Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Jake Asman. Subscribe down below. Like this video. Click the thumbs up. It helps the channel continue to grow. Thanks to everyone who watched. Have a good Friday, everybody.